All right, Mr. Ari, please confirm that you can see my slide displaying JavaScript learning.
Yes, sir, I can see your slide.
Oh, all right, thank you so much. Now, guys, we were able to actually actualize introduction to JavaScript. In the last class I taught you guys, I was able to teach you guys what a variable is. I was also able to teach you guys um, what an array mean, objects, and how to also create a variable. I also thought about data types. Then my colleague came in and she thought about what she taught last week. And I would be brushing up from last week. So please, at any point, Mr. Ari, please, if at any point you can't see my screen, please let me know by just let me know. You can either just comment, like unmute your mic and speak, so that I can hear you quickly. Okay, so let's begin. Yeah, JavaScript learning. Now, just as a form of recall that still confused, JavaScript is a scripting language. It is a high-level interpretation language and it is used for functionalities across web pages. JavaScript is used for functionalities across web pages. What this means is JavaScript gives lives to our web pages. JavaScript is that source. It's that source that gives that good taste to your meal. Now, still in the mood of JavaScript, we've actually stated what a variable is. We've taught data types. My colleague also taught about arithmetics and what she taught about. Now, I'll still want to continue in that same vein so that those that did not grab anything from last class can actually benefit from this. And whatever will be taught here is also centered around your assignment. That's the aim. So everything I'll teach today is also centered around your assignments. So just pay careful attention so that you grasp every single bit of it. Let's continue. Now, what is arithmetic in JavaScript? Arithmetic in JavaScript. Arithmetic in JavaScript refers to mathematical operations you can perform using numbers. Arithmetic in JavaScript refers to mathematical operations you can perform using numbers. JavaScript supports all basic math operators. JavaScript supports all basic math operators. These operations are essential in calculations, animations, validations, and more. Let me go over that again so it sticks. Arithmetic in Java mathematical operations. You can perform these operations using numbers. JavaScript supports all basic math operations you know. These operations are essential because they do what? They perform essential in calculations, animations, validations, and more. You all know it's not like the first time you're hearing about arithmetic, because I want to believe we all passed through secondary school and we're all taught basic math operations. Now, everything we'll be learning today is not far-fetched. It's not, it's all relatable. So most of the operators you will learn today, math operators used in arithmetic activities in JavaScript are things you know, things like minus, division, modulus. These are things you already know. They are not far-fetched. So I don't expect anybody asking me, what is this symbol for? What is this symbol for? You should be conversant with that moving forward. So let's go. So what are these arithmetic operators? Addition, subtraction, multiplication, divide, division, increment operator, modulus, decrement, exponential. Going forward. Now, the first one, you already know what addition means. Addition adds two numbers together. Subtraction actually subtracts numbers. 2 minus 1, 3 minus, just like that. It goes on and on. 7 minus 5, 5 minus 7, just like that. You use it to actually subtract numbers from each other. Addition is 5, 10. 10 plus 30, just like that. Moving forward, Mr. Ari, please, can you still hear me and see my screen?
Yes, I can see you and see your screen.
Thank you so much. Now, multiplication. Multiplication, you know the drill. 5 times 5, just like that. So these are basic math operators that are used to perform arithmetic operations in JavaScript, as simple as ABC. As simple as ABC. I know the only one most persons might not be conversant with is the increment operator and the decrement operator. So please, we would practicalize all of these and also make so that you can relate it with the assignment you're currently working on. So let me open my folder. All right, so yeah, this was our last class. Remember, you create all you need to do when starting out with your JavaScript is to create a file, name the file anything you choose to name it, but the extension must be .js. So for instance, you have script.js here, save it in the same folder as whatever folder you're working on, right? And then do your thing. That's how it works. So since we are not currently building something that has to do with the HTML, we are just trying to learn terminologies in JavaScript. We don't actively need to link both of them together for now. We are learning the basics of JavaScript. The application from next week, you would be doing some major applications. You won't be building calculator, no. You won't be doing all of that. Calculator, weather app, or whatever. No, you won't be doing all of that. You would be, let me prepare your mind now. So you would be building a store, an online store. That online store, you should be able to add a product to the store page, remove a product from the page. What I mean is, for most of us, our online stores now, Temu, Jumia, you can see how products are displayed. You should be able to do that after we've gone a bit of learning in JavaScript. So be able to add products to the storefront, which is the front end of it, then remove products and do a whole lot. So get your seat belts ready. Now, back to what we are actually on. We the first one. So to actually get ourselves conversant with the JavaScript arithmetic operations, let's do some few operations and then continue our learning process. So look at this, right? Everyone, please pay attention. Now, first of all, I'll create a variable. Let me create a variable called a, and let me give install a number inside of a. Let me give a number of 50, and I'll create another variable called b, and let b equals to 30. So the first operator we learned is called the addition operator. We'll just do like 4 or 5 of them and continue our learning process because we have a lot to cover up. We are almost half of our journey, so we need to buckle up. So I want to be able to add, I've created 2 variables actually, and I stored data inside of them. I stored the data of 30 and I stored the data of 50. So wherever this A will be, wherever this B will be, they would actually represent the numbers that are actually stored inside of them. So A represents 50 and B represents 30. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is actually add A plus B together. So let's say, okay, so we have A plus B together, A plus B together. Let's try to know the output. Now, we have A, which is 50, and B, which is 30. When you add what we've done here, we have 80, which is the output. Now, for most persons, they'll be asking, what is this console.log? Beautiful. Console.log is a method used to get the output of whatever JavaScript logic is being written. Console.log is a method. It's a method, you can call it an operator, but mostly I would love you to actually refer to it as a method. It's just, you have your, so when you want to write your console.log, this is how a console.log looks like. You have the console.log with the 2 brackets at the end of the log and a semicolon. Now, inside of it, whatever output you want, you put it inside of here. Now, we want this out, we want an output of what are these 2 numbers and have a presentable output. So inside the brackets, we'll now put A plus B, and A plus B actually will give you an output of 80, which you already know logically. Now, going further, and let's go back to what we are on. Addition operator actually adds 2 numbers together. It can also add 2 variables together, which we've done. We added 50 and we added 30 together. We added A plus B together. A is a variable, B is a variable, and the data stored inside of them are totally different. A stores 50, a number called 50. B stores 30, a number called 30. And we added both of them together and we got an output of 80. Moving forward, instead of this plus, let's change it to have the minus operator here. So let's check what our output will be. Even if most of us already know, let's just, for the benefit of those who would not know. So you already know the drill. You already know the drill. Um, so 50, 50 minus 30. You remove 30 from 50, what would you get? 20, which is the output you're seeing below. So the minus operator actually minus or subtract, values from each other. Going forward, going further. Now, we are using the multiplication operator, arithmetic of 50 times 30 will give you what? Let's know the output of that. To give you 1,500. Let's go further also. 50 divided by 30. 1.6. If you round it up, I think you get 1.71. And Mr. Ray, please confirm that you can still see my screen and hear me perfectly well.
Yes, I can see your screen and hear you perfectly well.
Thank you so much. Going further, um, going further, we can also have the um, modulus. And also 20. So a 50 modulo b 50 modulo 30 would give you 20. Now, with all of these, I want to believe we now know or we now recollect what math operators are. I had to actually go deeper and then show us live practical examples. So someone's excuse will not be that, oh, I don't understand or I don't recollect. These are basic things you should already know. With this practical example being shown to you, the assignment you were given, I believe to an extent you should be able to solve some sections of it that has to do with operators. Going forward, going forward, let's go back to our slide. Now, going forward, arithmetic operators in summary, they actually help you to perform arithmetic operations as simple as ABC. So you don't need to stress yourself, you don't need to do much. Now, I forgot to do this operator because we mostly use it a whole lot. We mostly use it a whole lot. We mostly use it a whole lot. Now, let me explain. This is called an increment operator. This plus 2 plus you're seeing is called an increment operator. Now, what does it do? The increment operator actually just adds 1. It just adds 1 to the current data stored inside the variable. Let me explain. For instance, we have let A equals to 50 and then we did A plus plus. If you go back to our slide, you can see that there's an increment operator. Now, the increment operator just adds 1 to whatever value is there. So we have 50. So if you use an increment operator, you would have 51. Now we have the decrement operator, and the decrement operator works the same way. So if we actually run our work again, you see that 50 has 1 has been removed from 50, and the output you get is 49. The output you get is 49. This is just decrement operator, increment operator. So when I tell you to use the increment operator, I'm expecting you to perform this same pattern of logic. Now let's go back to our slide. Now, in summary, guys, arithmetic operations are done with arithmetic operators. Leave the big English. The plus, minus, division you know in school then are still the things that are being used now in what you're learning at the moment. Basic math operators you already know. So don't let it confuse you. I know it's math, it can get overwhelming. Just hang in there. It can be grasped. Going forward, statements. Going forward, statements in JavaScript. What are JavaScript statements? JavaScript statements is an instruction. JavaScript statement is an instruction that tells the browser to do something. Now, just a minute. Okay. Okay. So JavaScript statements are is a set of statements or instruction that tells the browser do like this, do like that, do like this. Just like sentences in English ends with a period, JavaScript statement ends with a semicolon. Though it's optional in some cases, but it is good practice. Think of statements as commands, which is a step, which is each okay. Sorry, think of each one is a step in your script. So let me use this reality example. Let's say, for instance, you have a mom. As a child, just picture yourself as a child, or picture yourself as a mother or a father or a parent. Just picture yourself as that, or maybe a boss in the office. And your boss in the office gives no, let me use the one at home, because I think that would be more relatable. Now, your mom gives a set of instruction. Your mom is traveling. Your parent is traveling. And as your parent is traveling, your parents are laying down some instructions. These instructions must be adhered to. For instance, this is the pattern. Or your dad or your parent, any of the parent tells you, when you wake up in the morning, get up, go to your bathroom and wash your mouth. Take your brush, apply toothpaste, and then brush your mouth. When you're done, take off your clothes and take your bath. When you're done, wear your uniform and then get to the dining and take a meal, a breakfast meal, and then head to school. When you're done, when school is over, head back home, and then that's it. Now, same thing we actually do here. When a user comes on a website, look at your bank app, for example. Let's look at Access Bank app, for example. For you to be able to actually do a transfer, the first thing you do is what? Click on the login button, right? The login button demands you to enter your credentials, your username and password. After you're done with that, you now go on to do whatever you choose to do. Statement is an instruction. It's like a block of instruction that tells the browser to do something using JavaScript. So all I'm saying is we use JavaScript to actually write statements that the browser interprets and gives us a desired output. It's just that way. Don't think of it as one big deal. As simple as ABC. As simple as ABC. So statements is like a step-by-step approach. It's like a step-by-step solution or whatever you can think of in solving. So with all of this, I believe by defining this way, I believe we are able to grasp it. Now, before I go on, Mr. Harris, please confirm that you can hear me and see my screen.
Yes, sir. I can hear you and see your screen.
Thank you so much. Perfect. Now, what are the types of these JavaScript statements? Still in the mood of statements, we have like 9 to 10 of them, but I'll be treating these three first. And then as we move on, you would learn the remaining ones. Now we have what we call declaration statements. We have expression statements, and we have conditional statements. We have statements. We have expression statements, and we have conditional statements. Please let this sink down. Let this sink down. I'm going to actually illustrate the three of them and show you what they look like. In your assignment currently, you were told, I saw the assignment, I believe you've already been taught. So some persons are still complaining, I don't understand and all of that, you know. So that's why I'm still shedding more light on this. So we'll be moving with the speed of light. So let's start. We have the first type of statement called the declaration statement. We have the second one called the expression statement, and we have the conditional statement. Let's continue. So let's go back to our VS Code. Now, the first one called declaration statement. So we have the first one called declaration statement. How do you write a declaration statement? As simple as ABC. First of all, you can write. Yeah, so we've been doing declaration statements. Even some minutes ago or seconds ago, we wrote a declaration statement. And how do a declaration statement look like? For instance, we have uh, let's let's name let name equals to Simi. Let name equals to Timmy. This is a declaration statement. This is a declaration statement. Going further, we can also have, you can also declare more statements, you know. You can also write sorry, we've used let's too much. So you can have const age equals to 40. Yeah. So you've declared two statements. Remember, while declaring a variable that has to do with number, you don't put them in a double quote. The first one is a string, the second one is a number data type. Moving on, you can also write, we've defined and we've been able to define the declaration statement, and this is how it looks like. Let's move on. So the next one on our is called the expression statement. Expression statement. Expression expression statement. In expression statement, you don't need to do much. So for instance, we I think I need to keep that one that there'll be better understanding. Let me leave that first one I did. This one is called declaration statement. Let's name let name equals to Timmy. Yeah. So the first one is called declaration statement. So expression statements can now come in like this. So you can now say come here and say name equals to all right. So if you watch well, our first statement or on line one is called declaration statement. You declare a statement, right? And let my name, I created a variable called my name and I stored Tim inside of it. The second type of statement which we are going on to learn is called expression statement. And what did I just do? I just wrote an expressive statement. You know, I restored. If you remember, while I was teaching you guys, I told you guys while creating a variable, the let keyword, if you use the let keyword while creating a variable, you can change the data inside of it explicitly later on without going to the original created it. What I mean is, look at this variable. We created a variable of my name. We stored the data inside of it called Timmy. Now, I now came underneath it and then still that name, my name, I changed it. I changed the data inside of it to parent. So for instance, if we do an output, console.log, if we do an output of, so let's see what the output would be. So you can see that everything is linked to each other. That's why you shouldn't miss any parts. Script.js. So you can see that our output outputted pere. Why? Because the let keyword allows it's flexible. You can store another data inside of keyword. If I use the const keyword, and you see that it won't allow, it will output to me instead. So let's do, so you can see it threw me an error. It threw me an error while the const keyword does not allow for reassigning a data, a value inside of it. It does not allow that. So I'll go back and change it to let. Moving forward, that was not the plan. It was just something that just came in along the line while learning. So expression statement actually operates like this. This is how you write an expressive statement, you know. Now, moving forward, the sweetest kind of stuff, it is called the conditional statement. And that is where most of you are getting it wrong on your assignment. I'll create a class in between the week for full correction of your assignments. Full correction of your assignment. Even the so-called people who say, I know JavaScript from um, before the class, are still making errors. And most of you went to ChatGPT and some generative AI to actually copy your assignment verbatim. Very wrong. It's not like it's wrong for you to do that. It is wrong for you to do that and not have an understanding of what you did. Don't don't get me wrong. I use AI almost every day of my life. It shortens my time, my work time. If I'm to do something in like 2 hours, it shortens it to like 30 minutes or 20 minutes, even 10 minutes. But as I'm also doing that, I'm also understanding what I'm doing. I already know what I'm doing. So what I'm actually trying to keep against is time. Please mute your mic. Someone's mic is not muted. Please mute your mic. Please mute your mic. I don't know who the person is. Ah, these are the kind of things I dislike. Okay, so let's disregard that. It's not bad for you to use AI. I'm an artificial intelligence. In fact, I'm starting a brand on that to actually make people aware of the usage of it. But I'm also against using it and not knowing what is happening. That's a very foolish idea. Know what is happening, know the logic happening, then use it to actually save time. That's the key reason why you have it at your disposal. When you're given an assignment, don't just go and copy and paste on ChatGPT and then send it for us. No, it doesn't make sense. I will do an interactive session with every one of us, and then that would act as a confirmation that you would understand what you're being taught. So please, while you're also generating your assignments, your assignment solutions, try to also understand the assignment I am pleading. Going forward, conditional statements. Who is this person now? Who is this person? I muted your mic. Please, what are you unmuting your mic while in class? There's no logical reason why you should unmute your mic while in class. Because your background noise would disturb those who are learning. So please, let's just try. It's not difficult. Now, conditional statements. What are conditional statements? It's actually a very beautiful kind of statement. Now, let me give you an example. If you are building a web app, an application whatsoever, and the application will cater for the whole society, but there are some of the sections of the web app you don't want some certain use cases to actually use that particular section of the app. Conditional statement is what you would use. Let me give an example. If you're building an app, a web app, where for users who are from 18 years below should not be granted full access to the app, how would you be able to do that? That's a condition, number one condition. So for users that are from 18 to, you know, this particular they won't be granted access to a particular section of the app. from users above 18, they'll be granted access to a particular section of the app, Besides that, maybe you're building a school application, and that school application, you would want to have teachers, you would want to have the owner of the school. The owner of the school should be able to see all classes, all things going on in all classes, should be able to see which parents have paid school fees or not, should be able to pay teachers school fees from the app. Just imagine that scenario. Then children will also have their own section, Now I'm giving you guys a imagination, a picture imagination of how conditions work. So when you talk about these conditions, you now have to actually hard code it yourself, create conditional statements that can operate that way. I believe we now all understand. So conditional statements are used when there will be conditions in your web application. Let's not even go far. I believe every one of us have this issue almost every day. If you go to any app, if you try to log into any application, most times they'll tell you wrong password, wrong username. You will not be wondering, what is the issue? What is the issue? But my this thing is correct. You will now calm down to actually check, and you will now see that, oh, y is missing from my username. Oh, my password, I did not use the capital letter. Oh, it was correct. Conditional statements can actually affect that. So when it makes a query, when you click on the web application or the application loads up for you to enter your username and password for you to access the app. And when you put in your details and it rejects you, it has made a query to the database. If this particular credentials typed by this user is present in the database, grants him or her access. But if it is not, query incorrect username or password. I believe we now have a better understanding of how this works now. And your assignment, while I am taking my time to teach on this, is so that you can review the assignment you've done, review it yourself and ask yourself, what I did, is it correct? So please don't get it mixed up. Now, this is conditional statement. Let's say you're a teacher and you want to mark someone's score. So we can say, let's score. Maybe this particular child's score is 80. Let score be 80. Now, we'll now go below. This is an example of a conditional statement. Where's my cursor? I want to position this so that you're able to see. Now, conditional statement goes like this. You now write if so inside the bracket, you now write score. Let me type it out. If the score is greater or equals to 50, console.log you passed. Else console.log you failed. You failed. Beautiful. Now this is how a conditional statement works. You have the first, remember, when you're doing JavaScript, you're employing almost everything you have learned. Inside of this already, we have like a data type, we have a data type. The data type here is called numeric data type, which you learned last week. 80 is a numeric data type. We have what we call a variable, and we also created a variable. Looking at you, what is the variable in question? Score. Score is the variable. And what is the number stored inside the score? What is the number stored? 80. So this is a variable. And what kind of statement is this first one? This first one is called, as we did here, it's called a declaration statement. A declaration statement. Now, leaving that aside, we now went further to actually write a conditional statement. Now, if score is greater or equals to 50, console.log you passed, else console.log you failed. Now, what it means is that the average for you to be considered a student that passed the assignment should be 50. It should not be below 50. But from 50, if you scored 50, 51 down to 80, you passed. But if you scored below from 49 down to 0, you're a failure. Now let's check our output. Let's check the output and see what we are doing. So I'll run this code. So our output said I passed. Why? My score is 80. My score is 80. Now if I come here and come and write 49, and then I run my code again. Oops, you failed. My current output said I failed. Why? The data inside of it, my score is actually 49. And 49, anything below 50, 49 to 0 means I failed. So what does conditional statement actually do? When you write a conditional statement, the conditional statement actually runs from up to down. It checks the first condition, and the first condition says if score is greater or equals to 50, which it did, and then it actually echoed the first output, which is you passed. So if this one's condition is not met, which is me scoring 50 or above, I would be considered a failure. It will now leave this first condition and move over to the second condition and check. Else, I failed. As simple as that. Don't need to do too much. This is how conditional statements work. Now, picture it, someone's mic is not muted. Picture it in scenarios where you are building something, just like I told you guys. Please mute your mic. Who is this person, for crying out loud? Mute your mic. It's not difficult. You're distracting others. Mute your mic. If you keep joining, also try to check if your mic is not muted. So conditional statements to actually, have the leverage of having so many conditions. I can actually create a web app and say, okay, I want any, if it is a man, like while creating your account and you're a man, you will be only be given, maybe you interact with a different unique section of the web application or app, then if you're a lady, you're a female, you'll be given a different section, just like that. These are what conditional statements can do. It's a statement. It's a statement. Notwithstanding that it's a statement, it also employs the methods of other stuffs. For instance, this is a conditional statement, but you can see some little things you have learned thus far. like creating a variable, a data type, you know, you can see console.log that you learned some minutes ago. It employs all of this to actually create a statement. Same with the expressive statement. My name equals to Bear. This is an expressive statement. Same goes with a declaration statement. All the variables you've been creating thus far are called declaration statements. Any question? Is there any question?
So I have a question.
Go on.
Please, I need to
I need to
understand
understand
the
the
expression
expression
statement.
statement.
I don't think
I
I
don't think
really
I
put
really
it.
put it.
Okay, did you just join?
No,
No,
I've
no.
been here.
Okay, okay. Who else has questions before I go
So
further?
I have a
I have
question.
a question.
I have a
I
question.
have a question.
Go on.
My question
My
is,
question is,
under that
under that
const,
const,
can
can
we
we
condition?
condition?
Can we use
Can we
conditional
use
statement
conditional
for
statement for
const
const
as well?
as well?
Yes, you can. You can. Why not? You can. Okay.
Okay, sorry,
Let me
excuse me, sir.
Excuse me, sir.
okay.
I want to add to the
Add to the
question.
question.
I also wanted to
I also
ask
wanted to
about
ask
the
about the
cons
cons
and the
and
less.
the less.
Okay.
Like, is it
Like, is
used
it
like when
used
you
like
do
when you
use
do use?
You can use it anytime. You can use it anytime. The issue is you should know when to use them. So for const, when you're using const, you should know that you're not going to change the value below. Like you're not going to change it. It's explicit, like it's going to be there, constant, just like the name implies, constant value. That value would be there. For instance, I want to create, I want to have genders in my app. There's nothing like I'll be having male throughout, except maybe we have another gender. So when I create the variable, I'll create I can create the gender and call it male using the const. I can create another gender variable and call it female. Those ones will be constant. There's nothing that will be changed in them. Those are some kinds of data that will be constant. Now there are some kinds of data that would likely be changed as you go on. That's when you can use let to freestyle. So what in summary I'm saying is you use each of them when you know you want to use them. It's optional to you. But use
okay.
them according to what situation demands. Yeah. To answer the first person's question, an expression statement is a statement that consists of an expression followed by a semicolon. I think I forgot to say that. So anywhere an expression is involved. For instance, this, let me go. My name equals to Perry. It's an expression. You can also have x equals to 7. This is an expression. You can also have x plus 5. These are all called expressions. You can have them as this is not an expression, this is called a declaration. This is called this let score equals to 49. This is declarative. If I remove the let from it, it is now an expression. But if I once I add the let to it, a yeah, so once I add the let, it's a declarative expression. Now, This is also a declarative, sorry, this is also an expression statement. This console.log you passed. So you can see that in conditional statement, you are using like all the types of statements. We have the declarative statement here, the expressive statement, and then conditional statement itself. So the console.log you passed inside of the conditional statement is an expressive statement. Do you now understand?
Yes, I understand. Thank you.
Yes. Guys, we are moving over. We are moving forward. Sorry, not moving over. We are moving forward to functions. Mm, Let me not be in a haste, and then because I'm trying to cover up for the last time. I've been away, and then so who has questions?
Sir, this is another thing I want to ask. You said that const can never be. I mean, when we are using const as a when we declare a const, so we can't express it, abi.
Guys, sir, you say?
I said when we declare a const, I mean constant variable,
Uh,
we can't express it.
you can't. You can.
Express. I mean,
You
that you are okay.
Okay, you mean if we use it in this conditional
declaration
statement? If we use it in this condition,
Yes.
in this conditional statement, we are
No.
not
I'm
changing.
not talking of conditional. You use that as example equal to 34. But under the expression statement, you do not express it there. That's what I just want to confirm. And the var too. Is the var can be expressed.
I am totally lost. I won't lie for you. Just calm down. Oh yeah, just
Okay.
take it bit by bit. I'm confused. Oh yeah,
What I'm asking is that
okay.
in your example, you said declaration statement. The first one is let my name equal
Timmy,
semicolon Timmy.
Mm-hmm.
The second one is const age equal 34.
I did not do const age here. Oh. Is anybody seeing const age here?
No, in your first I mean the first
No,
example you
yes. I
give.
use it as an example now.
Example,
This is an example of
yes.
declaration statement. That one was like a second
Example, yes, I
statement.
know.
It's not like
I
a
know.
continuation. Oh.
I know.
Uh,
I know. But what I'm now asking is, can that const age be expressed?
yes, now it's an expressive. It's not an expressive statement, sir.
That's what I want
Yes,
to know.
you cannot. Sorry. Now I understand. No, now. No. So situations like that, when you know you express the statement, use your legs. You understand?
Okay, and var be what about Vasa?
See, Yemisi is your name, right?
No, Mudashiru.
Oh, sorry, Mudashiru. Yes, I always remember. Mudashiru, when you know you'll be changing the data like that, just use your legs and rest your mind. Is that okay?
Okay, sir.
And you have more difficult things to do. Don't go and bog your mind with. Don't bog your mind with things that are solvable at the moment.
sir.
Use your legs and be comfortable.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Yes. Now moving forward. If you have your questions, reserve them. Functions. Now, functions. Functions are reusable block of codes that perform specific tasks. They execute when you call them. They help organize your code to avoid repetition. What is a function? I hope you are all writing. I hope you are all engaged. We have learned variables. We've learned data types. We've learned statements. We've learned arithmetics in JavaScript. And now we are learning functions. Please get used to them. you would build a full product since you're learning. You're not just learning it for learning sake. You're being taught one after the other because you would apply each of them in building a particular product, a particular web application, whatever you call it. So you join all of them together and have a output. That's the reason why you're taught one by one. So please just be patient and then be attentive. Try to take notes and then don't miss any parts. What is a function? A function in JavaScript is a block of code that performs a certain task. A function in JavaScript is a block of code that performs a certain task. We use functions to carry out activities that would repeat. We use functions on our applications to enable functionalities on our programs. This function well, you've solved a major percentage of your breaking into JavaScript. That's how vital this function is. And I'm going to take my time in it. Yes. Because when you hear give this, your website does not have function, it's all we've been saying thus far. Going forward, a function is a block of code that performs a certain task. We use function to carry out activities that would repeat. We use function on our applications to enable functionalities on our programs. I want to believe that if someone wakes you up from sleep to define function, you'll be able to grasp it. I would close with this function. This function aspect is what I would close with. I would show us an example and then recap. I love hitting the nail on, let it sink in. Let me not give it so much information overload and then you don't get to be active on it. With all of this, go back to your assignment after we are done. Review the assignment you've submitted. I've not marked one person's assignment because I want us to not just be doing that. I want to gain a high score. To me, I've not been graded. To me, the score there, I don't like it. From henceforth, if you message me and tell me your grade, Timmy, please review my grade, I will discuss with you. I will call you. I will call you, and on the call, you explain to me every bit of your code. Yes, that will hence going forward. Except in cases where your URL just empty page, that's a different case. So please, going forward, make sure you know every single thing we are doing and ensure you know every single thing you're doing. Now, a function is a block of code that performs a certain task. These particular tasks, we all know, can be anything. Now, we use functions to carry out activities that would repeat. For instance, we all know that we log into our bank apps more than multiple times in a day. That is like an activity that is repeatable. That's an activity that is repeatable. You use your WhatsApp to send voice notes. You chat, you send messages. It's a function that actually carries out that particular activity. You go on Facebook, you go on Instagram, that's a function. There's a function responsible for that particular thing you're doing. For each activity you're doing on any web application or application, a function is responsible. Someone has written a function that enables you to do that particular thing. Currently, we are on this call. We are on this class currently learning about JavaScript. It is because someone has created a function in Telegram that enables you to do what? Video chats and share screen. So once I click on the button share screen, it shares my screen. A function is responsible for that. Now, functions don't entirely work. When you hear about functions, functions is a collection of the variable you know how to create, the statements you have learned, conditional statements, the data types you have learned, the arithmetic stuff you just learned, the arrays and loops and what they call it, objects you have learned. When you combine all of them, you can create a function. Not in all cases though, because you might not need to combine all of them, but at least you need to create a variable. That one is more a very conversant and very used. So when you hear a function, it's not an entirely independent term on its own. Just like the way you saw how the conditional statements work, it works with the declaration statement and the expression statement all together in it to give a desired output. Same with function. A function helps to power up a particular activities or different activities on your web application on the go. Yes. So we'll be practicalizing with just a simple example of a form, then we'll close for today. So let's go going forward. Um, this is conditional statement. So I'll just scroll down. Let's create a function. So first things first, so let me create a function that greets. I'll create like maybe 2 or 3 functions. Let me create a function that greets, that act as a greeting, maybe just greets, function greets. So I've created a function called function greets. So look at this. I've created a simple function. And what does this function do? The function is not doing anything because I've not given it anything to do. So it's as good as being useless, but it is still a function. Currently looking at it, I have just declared a function, but the function does not have anything mandated to do. Yes, it is just there. It's like that your child that you've not given any work to do, or that your boss, maybe your boss have not given any work to do, but you're still there. You're under him. So this is how you create a function. You write your function declaration name, and then you give it whatever function name you desire. And after that, you put your parenthesis. Your parenthesis is this bracket you're seeing there, and you put your curly braces. Inside of it is where you tell it to do whatever you want it to do. I hope I'm communicating. So function greets. Earlier on, I told us I want to create a function that greets us. Yes. So function greets, and then we'll now give it whatever it will do inside of it. So inside function greet, let me use the console log expression, console.log hello world. Yes. Now, so you can see function greets. This function greets is outputting a greeting called hello world, or whatever I choose to put inside of it. Now, you can see that we have a string inside of here, a data type of string inside of here, so you can see that all those things you learned, you're also seeing them. let's see what our output will be. So it outputted hello world. Now you can see that you failed. The reason why you failed is because of this conditional statement. It's still calling. Let me remove the console log so that we just concentrate on the one we are currently learning. Okay, so you can see hello world. This is a simple function. This is how you create a function. Now we can also move further. Now, how do we move further? We can also do a whole lot. You can add two numbers, create a function that is responsible for adding two numbers together. You can create a function, just it goes on and on. Now, when creating a function, you must also not forget that this parenthesis, this bracket you're seeing, carries data also. There are some functions you would create that it will carry functions. Now let's go deeper. Let's dive deeper. Now I will change this function name. Let me call it another function name. Let me even clean everything. So function what function name can I call this? Let me just call it function add number. It's a function that will add numbers together. So it's a function that will be responsible for adding numbers. How did I come under here? How? Function add numbers. Now, inside of the parentheses, I will now I'll put some data inside there and then come out of it, and then I'll now write the function activity that it will carry out inside of it, in between these curly braces now. So I would now I'll write return. I'll explain. What's happening? What is happening? Mhm. Yes. Yeah. So what have I done thus far? I believe most of us, our brain will start, what's the me doing here? I started getting confused. What's happening here? That's what I want now. So let's do the hard things. Now, this is a simple function. And what's this function responsible for? This function is responsible for adding two numbers together. And let me explain what I did. Let me get an output first and then explain. So let me run my code. Okay, I have an error somewhere. Add. Oh, this is my error. I was wondering where my error was coming from. So these are there. It's supposed to be add numbers. So that's why you have to be very, very patient and then careful. So I was wondering where my error. So let's go again. No. Yeah. So 15. 10 plus 5 is 15. Let me explain. Now, this is a proper function. And what does this function do? This function actually takes care of any form of addition on our web page. So anytime we need any form of addition, all we need to do is just call up the function. You can have as many as you want. All you need to do is just, call it up. Sorry. So I've written like 4 of it. Let me do an output of 15. That's by the way. Let me explain. Now, this is a function. What this function does is the function adds two numbers together. That's why I named it function add numbers. That's why I named it function add numbers. Now, inside of the parentheses, I gave it some form of argument. I gave it A, comma, B. Those are the two things I'll be dealing with. Now, inside the curly braces, I use the return key method to actually add both of them together, A plus B. The function should return A plus B. Now, I came out of the function body and then, because I needed an output, I created a variable called function const sum. You can use let, you can use const, you can actually use let, you can. So I created a variable, and inside this variable, all I did was pick up this function name, which is add numbers, and then inside the brackets, I changed this A and B to 10 and 5. And then I outputted this sum. Yes, I outputted this sum. And what was the answer? 15. 10 plus 5. I cannot just go and, best practice is you should create a variable, store in the function name you created, and output it. Instead of console.log add numbers, it's not going to be clean. Instead of writing console.log add numbers, all I needed to do was, because I need a proper output, because I need numbers, you know. Now, in some cases, I can also come underneath this const sum, Let me clear these other ones. Let me clear this other two. I can come beneath this const sum and then create another variable. Maybe I need to sum up another two numbers. I can create another variable called, maybe I can add, maybe just create it as add. Yes, a variable called add, and then still use this function name, but I'll change the values in it. So I will put here 20 and I will leave the 5 here. If I can still go on again, maybe anytime I need to add numbers, I'll just come just like that, change the numbers again. So let's come here and then change this sum to node scripts.js. So we have 15 for the first one. 10 plus 5 is 15. 20 plus 5 is 25. So you can see, instead of writing a new function that adds both numbers together, all I need is just use the function name and then do freestyle, do whatever I want to do. That's what function can do. Functions are reusable block of code that performs a particular activity. You don't need to write that same function. If you have scenarios where you'll be adding 10 numbers to get 10 use cases of numbers, let's say you have 10 plus 5, 20 plus 5, 100 plus this, like 20 of them. So you now start writing this function 1, 2, 3, 4. It will take your time. It will take your time. It's not going to be neat. It doesn't make you smart. With functions, all you need to do is just write the function, which is the function itself that performs what activity do you want that function to do. It should just be adding numbers. It should be responsible for adding numbers. Once you now create it, you now go on and start doing your thing. So the 20 types, the 20 needs of when you'll be adding numbers, all you need to do is just create a variable and then put in the two numbers you want to add, just like that, and be going. Your work is smart, you look smart, and that's what makes you a developer. So functions, in summary, are reusable block of code. It is not one kind of difficult thing that goes on when you use your bank application. Whenever you want to log in, there are some lines of code that are responsible for logging you into your app, your bank app, to transfer money. And that function is being called. So you can see, as long as anytime you want to use that function that adds two numbers, you just use the name, add numbers, and that's all. If I remove the S from the function name, and let me go and check let me run the code again, you see that it will throw error because the function name is no longer recognized. So if I do node script.js, you can see we are having error. But if I go back and use the proper name, which is add numbers, node script.js, you can see we are having the main output itself. So with this, I want to actually believe, and I'm convinced that we now have proper understanding of what function is, what statements, what types of statements, and what arithmetics, all of them, what you can do with them. I believe we now have proper understanding. We can utilize them to perform and do a lot of tasks. And also, we can also, for those of you that have done your assignment, I want you to go back, review the assignment you've done. I want you to also use this to actually also do your assignments and review what you've done and have better understanding, not just copy and paste so you get a grade. Do you have proper understanding of what you've done? That's the main aim. Who has questions?
Good evening.
Good
So,
evening.
yes, I have it. My question is about the assignments. How many HTML files should we create for each of the JavaScript files?
You just need to create one HTML.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Does that mean we'll link all of them into the
Yes.
JavaScript?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you, I'm good, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Go on.
Yes, question is pertaining to the now on that front, I'm seeing return P. Now, can't I have more than two numbers or
You say
it
what?
have to
You
be
say can't I have what?
can't I have more than two numbers Like for example, once I have five, 10, 20.
We use array for that. We'll use array for that. We'll use array for that. We'll get to that. This settle with the one you've been introduced with, and then grabs that one. Then you grabs it. We go for the more difficult one. Does it make sense?
Yes, thank
Try to master this one you've been shown today. When you've now mastered it, then go further by trying more difficult scenarios and use cases. Who has questions?
I have a question.
Go on.
Mr. What is the difference between function and loop? Because the last instruction spent resources on loop and was part of the assignment.
Okay. So you should know. First of all, difference between loops and function is a very funny thing, but you use a function to actually iterate over a loop. There are two different concepts, entire two different concepts. First of all, a function, you use a function to perform reusable block, like an activity that you want to do over and over and over again. Reusability. Loops are used for repetition, while functions are used for code reuse and modularity. I don't know how to explain to you, but the two of them does not relate at all. You use loops when you want to iterate over data. Loops are like statements. Yes, loops are actually statements. Loops are statements actually. Loops are statements. In our next class, we'll be learning loops. Loops, I'll teach you guys loops again. Loops are statements on its own. I think I would have added it to the statement I taught today. They are not functions, they are just statements. Yes. So you use loops for iterating over a data and controlling a flow. But for functions are reusable code. For instance, look at this function, add this. You cannot tell a loop. Loops are just to actually create a kind of a repetition flow, But function actually connotes an activity that is done over and over again. So loops, you cannot use loop in place of function. I don't know, but the two does not actually relate at all. It's two different concepts. So trying to actually compare them will confuse you. They are two different things and they serve a particular purpose. You will understand in our next class, but this is just to give you a bit of an idea rather of what the two do. Next question. Who has questions?
I have a question, sir.
Go on.
Okay, concerning this function, how we use it to attend post assignment, that is a one given. For that
You said
input, this function, are we also use it to get user input? Just like that first assignment, exercise.
yes now. So the first assignment, read that input on for me. No, that would be going further. I actually plan to do that in between the week. So I am creating a class. We'll choose the dates next week where we'll solve every single of the assignment questions, every single one of them. This class is not for that, sadly. This class is just to teach. Yeah, so we'll create a class for solving each of them, and then we'll have better understanding of it.
Okay.
With that, we have come to the end of today's class. Now, I will do a poll on the group. The poll is to actually, for us to agree what time we'll have tomorrow's class. I wanted to actually not have a class tomorrow due to the Easter celebration, but because of the time and all of that, I think we should have a class, no matter how brief the class should be. So we'll decide on the time. Might not be our usual time, so we'll decide on the time, either the around 7, 6, not the usual time, to ensure and allow people go for their Easter celebrations, because we have Christians and pastors.
Have you forgotten attendance?
Oh,
So are we
no.
not writing attendance today?
Yeah, no, we are writing attendance. Please stay on the call. Stay on the call.
Sir, please, I have a challenge.
What's your challenge? What's your challenge? How can I sound like you want to cry?
Regarding the terminal, running my code on the terminal. I'm getting an error message saying the M node is not recognized as the name of a CMC led functional.
Have you
I'm
installed
wondering what.
Node.js? Were you in the last class? Have you installed Node.js on your laptop?
No, sir, I haven't.
Go on your Google Chrome and type this, Node.js. Once you type Node.js on your browser, it will come up like this. Are you seeing my screen?
Yes, I can see your screen.
You see this Node.js come up. Click on it. Once you click on it, download it. Once you download it, install it. That your problem will be solved.
Thank you, sir.
Everyone has attendance is open. Sign in, and your attendance. Have a lovely weekend.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, what's your question? What's the issue?
I just want to know the